But he got a flag down.
Oofside.
Everyone but the center. Offense.
You're listening to Oofsides on Track and Turf Media.
Talk about playoffs?
But they are who we thought they were.
Who's gonna win it all?
Football.
And who is Dunyan Rings?
You play to win the game.
Live from the Dieter Brock studio.
Don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug.
Here's the crew that's bringing it all to you.
Welcome to Oofsides, playoff football. You heard Jim Mora, right?
Playoffs?
How you guys doing?
The light has gone out of my life. I'm doing
Hell
pretty
yeah.
good. I'm doing pretty fucking great right now.
I'm yeah, I don't know, football.
Agony.
Yeah. Yeah, the wild card round is over. That kind of sucked.
Just a little bit.
I don't really know how else to put it.
Sucks some
Yeah,
dookie shit.
A few games that we all expected to be good weren't. A few games that we expected to go one way didn't. And now we're here.
Isn't that just every week?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I guess we'll just jump right into it because a few of these trash fire teams we don't have to deal with. But I guess we'll start with a blowout that I don't necessarily think we saw coming. That's the wrong song.
Proud of you.
Matthew, edit that out. Now that I've talked over it, I can't edit it out. God damn it.
Fuck it, we'll do it live.
Orchard Park, New York. The quiet town of 29,000 people, 14 miles southeast of Buffalo, could fit twice over inside their NFL stadium that the Bills call home. That population came out in droves for the Bills contest against the upstart Broncos, and that raucous crowd was nearly stunned into silence as the visiting team took the ball straight down the field for a 7-0 lead on the first drive of the game. The Bills weren't fazed, though, as the Broncos never scored again, and Josh Allen's men reeled off 31 straight points to send Sean Payton's upstart team home early. The Bills dominated every facet, barely allowing Bo Nix to get his hands on the ball, and the Bills once again march further into January. I thought the Bills would win this game. I did not think they would completely shut down the Broncos after the first drive of the game. There's a there's a stat for this, and I gotta find it real quick. It's the time of possession in this game, because it is truly absurd to look at in a playoff game. As the Bills held the ball for 41 minutes in this game.
Yeah, it's no wonder the Broncos only got 7.
Yeah. This was like a mini version of that Texans-Chiefs playoff game from 2019, where they scored 24-0 and then got outscored 51-7 after that.
I like
hey, we're
about that
up
game.
7-0, and then the Bills score 31 straight.
And this was still a game right up until halftime too. It was 10-7, I think, and Denver was going down the field. It was a really impressive drive just before the half, and then Will Lutz booted the kick. And once that happened, it felt like all of the wind got taken out of the Broncos' sail.
Yeah, because that was right after the only stop the Broncos got all game. Because the Bills scored a field goal, then scored a touchdown to go up 10-7. The Broncos forced them to punt, and you can tie it going into half. They don't do that, and then the Bills are like, okay, later.
Bye. They put their foot on the
Deuces.
gas. Yeah, they put their foot on the gas and took the hell off.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this was, the Broncos were looking really frisky leading up to the playoffs, and obviously they had those 2 games against the Bengals and Chargers that they dropped that they could have won and locked themselves in, but instead it has to wait till Week 18, and then you get the idea of them demolishing the Chiefs in Week 18, and it's like, all right, maybe they can do something. No.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Why did the selection committee leave out the Bengals?
Dude, okay. Yes,
the
I'm
Bengals
assuming
should have made it in over them.
I'm assuming you saw that fucking dumbass article.
Yes. Yes. fucking idiot.
Not everybody should have an opinion.
He got paid for that opinion too.
Say
Oh
it.
my
Fuck!
God. Some people's kids.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean,
oh, good.
I expected this to go the way that it did, because if we're being honest, the Broncos got a year ahead on their rebuild, so they got some good bones, but I definitely expected them to get walloped like they did, and for a while they looked good, and then they just decided to not.
Yeah, it's almost like the and this is like a really common criticism you see, but it was after that first scripted drive was over, you kind of need Bo Nix to step up and, make as what Greg Rosenthal called big boy plays, and you didn't really get that. And it is crazy that the games like this show just how different like the very top to like the other good teams is, because teams like the Bills and the Ravens and the Chiefs are these like superpowers that just crush people. Well, maybe not the Chiefs, but we'll talk about them in a little bit. But like you wouldn't expect the difference between the Bills and the Broncos to be this vast.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, Josh Allen just played at such a ridiculous level in this game; it didn't really matter.
Reminded me of the Patriots game where, at the very start, the Patriots went down and scored, and everybody was just shocked. And the Bills were like basically conceding that first drive, knowing that they could just turn around and drive right down the field and kick their asses right back.
Yeah, it definitely reminds me of that.
Well, not only that, the Bills conceded the first 2 drives in that Pats game too. That was a 14-0 deficit that still really didn't bother them at all.
Probably just practice for this game.
It's like, I think it was either last year or 2 years ago. The Bills were playing the Packers on like Monday night or something like that, and they kept it close or whatever. And I just said in Discord, I was like, "Hey, sometimes you got to play with your food a little bit." And then they just blew them the fuck out in the fourth quarter. I was like, "Yeah, they're bored."
I also want to bring up something else too, and that was the, I think, third possession the Broncos had in this game. It was the possession before the missed field goal, where they went for it on 4th and 8 at their own 43, and Riley Dixon converted a 15-yard fake punt pass to Marvin Mims, and it was like, wow, that was really cool. It's plays like that that are going to keep you in the game. And then on that very same drive, they punted from the Bills' 39. Like, that would have been, if they lined it up, a 57-yard field goal try for Will Lutz. His career long is 60. He could have realistically made that field goal, but they punted from inside Bills' territory and got nothing out of it.
Yeah, that was one of the weird parts about it too, was like Sean Payton flip-flopping between being extremely aggressive and then being extremely conservative, and it was like, do you know who you're playing? Like,
and like obviously
it's the goddamn Bills.
And like obviously he missed the 50-yarder on the next play, but again, for somebody that's capable of hitting from 60, you take that every chance you get against a team with an offense as prolific as this one is.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just overall like a disappointing performance, because it didn't even really feel like it was, the Bills are just better. Like they had life early and then it just disappeared like immediately. So,
I don't know, man.
I think it was bound to happen. That's what happens the first year for a core like this. I mean, I think it's more a symptom of expanding the playoffs in general that a team like this is able to make it. But the Broncos aren't bad. They're going to get better. But I think this was going to happen no matter what.
Yeah, agreed. So, I mean, in the end, still a great season. Like, I don't think any of us had them penciled in as playoff bound, especially because
Hell no.
Last year was largely mediocre, and then people were not super high on Bo Nix coming out of the draft. And
First couple weeks were not good.
No. and now it looks like Bo Nix, second, maybe third best rookie quarterback in the class. So,
yeah.
It was very funny, though, because I was looking back on it earlier today, like the different schedules of playoff teams and all that. that ugly ass game that they won against the Jets, 10-9. If they had lost that game, the Bengals would have made the playoffs over them.
Oh my god. Of course it was the fucking Jets.
Greg Zuerlein fucked the Bengals out of the playoffs.
Just another person to add on to Joe Burrow's hit list this offseason.
Everything
God.
is the Jets' fault.
It always comes back to the Jets.
But yeah,
My
definitely
marriage
ahead of
failed because of
schedule,
the
but
Jets.
What was that?
My marriage failed because of the Jets.
They killed
God,
my
I
wife.
hate my wife. And by wife, I mean the Jets.
He burned my shake.
Jets
Just
burned my
end
shake.
JETS, just end their spousal arrangement.
What is the SpongeBob cover? It's like they burned our village and delivered a plague upon our people, or whatever it is. No, but are we gonna stand around until he does?
You have been diagnosed with Jets.
Oh, it's burned our crops and poisoned our water. Yeah, that's what it was. Anyway, yeah. So
Speaking of
Bills.
poisoned water. I think the Three Rivers got poisoned.
Yeah, let's. Well, unfortunately, that's not where the game was.
Close enough.
The Chesapeake Bay Harbor, maybe? I don't know. Let's go to Baltimore.
Ravens 28, Steelers 14.
Oh,
Yeah, never has a 28-14 game felt like more of a blowout.
for real.
Good God.
So
Did Steven just leave?
No, I'm still here.
Okay,
So,
I thought I heard you leave.
I had to tie up some loose ends there.
Okay.
since Mike Tomlin's last playoff win, Doug Peterson was hired. Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl. Doug Peterson was fired. Doug Peterson was hired. Doug Peterson won a playoff game. Doug Peterson was fired.
Also, that the entire Baker Mayfield saga happened since then.
Yeah.
The last time they won a playoff game, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, none of them were in the league.
Deshaun Watson's entire career has happened in between Steelers playoff wins.
Yep. And not to, like, obviously I'm not doing this to, like, make you sad, because, like, I also am a fan of a team that's spinning its wheels constantly.
Oh, I'm not sad. I'm not.
But this one feels different than the last few. Like, the narrative definitely feels like the pro football, like, cognoscente of press is finally like, all right, it's time for y'all to fucking do something about this, because I mean, you cannot describe the way the last month of the season went for the Steelers than an absolute failure.
Yeah.
And I think the defense is the biggest catalyst in all of this, though. I mean, for a unit that has been praised and revered all season, they went into this game and allowed 299 rushing yards.
Well, and the best part about that is, right, that, like, the Steelers' defensive scheme was, we're putting TJ Watt on Derrick Henry. TJ Watt is not on the Steelers' stat sheet because he didn't record a stat. That's how much the Ravens eliminated him from the game.
He hasn't
get hurt.
recorded. He hasn't recorded a stat in about a calendar month.
Yeah, he's been a complete non-factor in that entire
And Derrick
time.
Henry ran down the Steelers' throat all night.
Yeah,
He got hurt in the Eagles game and he played through it. So
yeah.
it's, you know, playing through an injury, you do what you do, but sometimes it's just not to the benefit of it. But Cam Sutton gave up. Minka gave up. The only people that really showed any heart were Joey Porter and Beanie Bishop. But you wouldn't know it because they weren't playing Beanie Bishop. They chose to play Cam Sutton instead, who was just sitting out of position and not doing any of his assignments. The whole team just gave up.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson also played way worse than his stats would tell you he did.
Yeah.
Like 20 for 29 for 270 and 2 touchdowns doesn't look bad, but it was bad.
Yeah. It's so frustrating because it's the same cycle that keeps happening with this team, right? Where they have a stretch in the middle of the year that you're like, all right, they're building something. And then it was the same thing with last week's show, or 2 weeks ago. No, it was last week's show. The only notes I had written down was George Pickens is a liability and nobody on the team can catch. And like, I don't know if Russell Wilson is the answer for this team moving forward, but good
Hell
God,
no.
nobody's fucking helping him, you know? Najee Harris is a complete fucking non-factor. He's done nothing in like 2 months. I mean, George Pickens remember how to catch this week, which is at least something, but outside of
had
that,
more.
like,
Dan Jefferson exists, apparently.
I just don't know what the answer is. And
I
this
mean-
team feels like, the end of the Andy Reid era in Philly, where everybody knows he's a good coach, but it's time to move on.
I don't know if it's time to fire him. I mean, they're in a rebuilding process. Going in, everybody should have known that this was going to be a 10-7 team getting blown out in the wild card, because that's what they do. And I think everybody just got a little high on their own supply once they won a lot of those games, which were admittedly cupcake games. And once they faced the real competition, they got their asses kicked. I think that it happens to a team every year, and this year it was the Steelers.
Yeah, I just wonder what they're gonna do to get out of this stretch. It's because
Well-
it's been a decade of this now, you know.
You need a
They either
quarterback.
need to be hyper aggressive in free agency or bottom out for a top pick.
Yeah,
I wouldn't even go for a top pick. I would, because you think about it, Lamar was picked 32 in the draft. You know,
true. Yeah,
you either have to find your guy or trade up to get your guy. And they have their first this year. You know, Omar Khan's been doing a good job in the front office. It's just a matter of actually getting those pieces. Because when you look at this roster, it's not a good roster. Because it's been hobbled by injuries and what Kevin Colbert did to this team for the last couple years. It's just, there's some things you got to change, and then there's some things you got to run back to see if they're the problem or not. If you give Tomlin another year, put Fields under center, get more offensive line help in the draft. You hope Troy Fautanu's healthy this coming season, because he wasn't there the whole season as their first rounder because he tore a giblet or something. They have to banish Dan Moore Jr.
yeah. There's just no depth. Once once TJ Watt gets hurt, who's filling that gap? Nobody, right? Once George Pickens, gets in his own head last week, who's stepping up to take his place as the go-to guy down the field? Nobody. Najee Harris and Jalen Warren can't get anything going on the ground. There's nobody there to help them. So yeah, like you said, like they have more or as much high-end talent as just about anybody else, but like you need more than that to be a title contender. But yeah, this was it was bad. And on the Ravens side, this also feels different because a lot of these years they're coming into the playoffs and Lamar is beat up and dealing with something, and he looks completely unfazed. He looks perfectly healthy. Derrick Henry is, like you mentioned, running for 186 yards and 26 carries, no problem.
Derrick
Yeah.
Henry, good.
Derrick Henry, very good. I mean, the
little
fact
bit.
that we're 18 games into the season and he's running for 186 yards and 26 carries and he doesn't even look
Yeah.
fucking phased by
He-
it.
Hasn't slowed down a bit. That's ridiculous.
Still just, it still baffles me that the entire league let the Ravens get him basically unchallenged.
They gave Lamar his running threat, so he doesn't have to be a running quarterback. And now this team, probably one of the best in the NFL.
Any other thoughts on this game though?
Banish Dan Moore Jr. to the land of wind and ghosts.
Well, yeah, we'll call it there, and we'll move on to the next game, which was in Houston.
The Chargers are in a new era. Gone are the days of head coaches that flop around like a fish out of water. Gone are the days of turnover-prone quarterbacks that don't show up when it counts. Gone are the days of playoff futility and perennial disappointment. And going up against a Texans team that backdoored into the playoffs that is only allowed to kick off wildcard games at 4:30 on a Saturday, this is the Chargers' time. It is the dawn of a new day. Justin Herbert threw 4 picks, and they lost by 20 in a score that ended up being scoregami. Time is a flat fucking circle. Texans 32, Chargers 12. What the fuck?
This is all because of the dirty bubble. We're going to start off with WTF, or what the football moment of the week.
My internet.
Yes.
This game was simulcast on Nickelodeon with Tom Kenny and Bill Fagerbacke doing commentary with some other guy that I don't know. Early on in the second quarter, the dirty bubble came down on the sideline and abducted Jim Harbaugh and carried him off out of the stadium. After that point, Justin Herbert threw 4 interceptions and the Chargers outscored 32-6 and lost the game. Gone is the curse of the Billy Goat, or the curse of the Bambino, and enter the curse of the dirty bubble.
That is fucking awesome.
There are also a couple of truly unreal stats as a result of this game. With 2, I repeat, 2, CJ Stroud now has the most playoff wins by a Texans quarterback in franchise history. Additionally, since 1996, the Texans have more playoff wins than the Cowboys. The Texans did not exist until 2002.
Yep.
America's team isn't even the best team in their own state.
I mean, have you ever gone back and looked at the Texans' first season?
Not good.
They went like 3-13, and one of those wins was beating the Cowboys in week 1.
Of course it was.
Of course, with the 02 Texans, we have to bring up when they faced the Steelers. And the Texans beat the Steelers 24-6 despite having 33 passing yards from David Carr.
Tommy Maddox's stat line in that game is pretty good too.
30 for 57, 325 yards, 2 picks, and 6 sacks. Antoine Randall got his lone pass off, though, for a yard.
I just like the idea of running like a trick play with your receiver and throwing it and he throws a check down.
Don't let Arthur Smith hear that. He'll fucking do it.
That's...
Oh my god.
We're here to talk about the Texans.
Yeah. I was on my way to Supercross while this game was happening, and we were at dinner, and the Chargers were up 6-0, and I was like, okay, here we go, and the Texans were just like fizzling out. And then we got to the stadium, and I checked my phone again when we sat down, and it was 32-12, and I was like, excuse me?
Yeah, we joke, but like the dirty bubble quite literally destroyed this fucking game.
That is so
Despite
awesome.
the fact that Ladd McConkey had 197 receiving yards in his playoff debut.
So I think that in and of itself like perfectly sums up the problem with the Chargers, where I know there's the narrative that people like to be like, oh, if Justin Herbert, or make fun of the fact that a lot of people are like, if Justin Herbert had X thing, he would be better, like the captain hypothetical or whatever. And I just want to point out, it's not, these two things are not mutually exclusive. You can both say Justin Herbert played very poorly, and also not all of those 4 interceptions were his fault, and if he had better receivers, they probably would have won.
Yeah, of those went literally through Will Dissly's hands straight to another.
That one was
defender.
bad, yeah.
That was not good.
Will Dissly and Quentin Johnston are fucking liabilities. Again, Johnston targeted 5 times, caught none of them.
By the way, 1 week after recording 13 catches for 186 yards.
Yeah. And he was like, all right, back to normalcy, you guys. Come on.
He had his one good game and said, "Alright, I'm out of here. I did my job."
Yeah.
It just goes back and forth, so he's going to be really good next week.
And of course,
Wait.
well, yeah, really good in fucking Madden. And I want to point out too, Joe Mixon, who had not recorded more than 50 rushing yards in a game in over a month, randomly came back and got 106 yards in this one because, Chargers, let's get the guy that's struggling, give him us as his get back game, and won MVP of Nickelodeon's Valuable Player Award for this game.
God.
I liked when he wore the slime helmet on the sidelines for his interview.
Well, they put the slime hat on Cal McNair afterwards. The fucking owner of the Texans was just walking around the sideline with the slime hat on.
Oh my god. Dude, I fucking love the Nickelodeon games so much.
It's so good.
My favorite part is that Bill Fagerbakke, voice of Patrick, actually knows a little bit of ball. So you will get a little bit of actual football analysis from Patrick, and it's the funniest fucking thing you'll ever hear.
I'm just imagining Patrick being like, they're checking into zone coverage.
That's not what Russ wanted to
Throw the hot route.
You're gonna see here, they're gonna drop into cover 2 here. I think with this read, you're gonna see that.
He starts to come, then he pulls out.
Gonna say that. Well, I don't know, Jim.
Diggs down the sideline. I winning. No, they didn't.
Man, we need to fucking more on that later. God, yeah, that's like one of the only ethical uses of AI is we need to dub like famous Joe Buck quotes, but in Patrick's voice. That is a disgusting act by Randy Moss. Well, I think I know what we're doing after this episode.
Oh God, I know what the Chargers are doing, sitting on the fucking couch.
Dude, yeah, I cannot believe that they just fully fucking collapsed like this because the Chargers were red hot coming into the playoffs.
Yeah.
They won their last 3. I mean, beat the Broncos, who of course were just a playoff team, and then beat the hell out of 2 shitters. Not really a better way to come into the playoffs than that, and then just.
And I think it's also like what happened to the Broncos is that first year with a new coach, you rebuild ahead of time, and you kind of get squished into playoffs. That's going to be your first experience with losing with your team, and you got to see if you can bounce back for next season. So it's going to be really interesting to see if they can do that over this offseason, or if they let it get to them and become the Chargers of old.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do want to point out, Grant, friend of the show, past guest on this show, had posted in our Oofsides server, but like, hey, the Chargers are making the playoffs, and he hasn't posted since.
What happened?
Wellness
Tomorrow's
check.
his birthday. I should probably check up on it. Yeah, I mean, this was like, I honestly, if you would have told me this game was 32-12, I'd been like, yeah, Chargers win, right? And then be like, no, it's the Texans. Actually, they finally looked good on offense.
Chargers win, right?
Yeah,
Right?
right.
I will.
Please say psych.
I will say this. Like, I think obviously, right, the Chiefs are going to be heavily favored against the Texans, but if they show up to Arrowhead and they play like they did in this game, they might have a chance.
This team's kind of nasty, I can't lie.
Yeah. Although
the Chiefs they've been quiet quitting football the past few months. We'll see if they actually play a team that tries for the first time all season. We'll see what happens.
Although it could go the way of like the 2017 Titans, where they beat the Chiefs in the wild card round, and everybody was like, "Oh shit, okay, maybe they got something," and then they just died in New England the next week.
God.
There is so much hype of like Marcus Mariota coming to New England. Oh,
wasn't that the game he threw a touchdown to himself?
Yeah, that was
Chiefs
the
one
Chiefs
was,
game.
yeah.
Oh hell yeah!
It
That made me
was like a
believe in him
ridiculous
for-
comeback. Yeah.
Far longer than necessary.
Craig won't pick up on that
Oh.
one.
Deontay Johnson, 1 target, 1 reception, 12 yards. We'll get back to him later.
Oh, I forgot he was on the Texans, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I think he
did
might have too. And we're gonna forget the Chargers were ever in the playoffs.
Deontay, you're checking in, and he's like, oh shit. I forgot I'm playing football. Yeah, in
And that
case
was
you can't
AFC.
tell, yeah, we don't have much to say about this game. Yeah, 3 not good games.
Scorigami.
Yeah, Scorigami, we got that at least. So.
Thanks,
Alright.
Dirty Bubble.
The dirty bubble like Scorigami, obviously.
The
I'm surprised
fucking-
there wasn't a John Boyce tweet about that.
The Dirty Bubble is the Pete Carroll of the SpongeBob universe.
Elaborate on that.
He likes Scorigami.
Oh, I thought. I was thinking, who's that? Who coached Kansas back in the 2000s?
Oh, Mark Mangino.
Yeah, that's the dirty bubble because he's fucking round.
Mangino.
He's a
Oh my
dude.
god, he is round. Holy shit.
He's a big boy.
We gotta put him in the thumbnail now.
I'll leave that tab open. All right. On to Philadelphia.
The Pack travel to Philly for their wild card matchup against the juggernaut Eagles. Fortunately, they left somebody at home, Jordan Love. Whoever went with him didn't do shit. Going 20 for 33 with 3 picks is a surprisingly putrid stat line for one of the league's top quarterbacks. It certainly didn't help that he lost Romeo Doubs and Jaden Reed during the game. The Eagles keep humming right along, and just like how Dallas Goedert stiff-armed Packers fans' hopes and dreams into the gutter, this team will push you into the dirt and you're gonna like it. Eagles 22, Packers 10.
Yeah, so the Packers had like 8 players get injured in this game. It was a plague amongst them.
Yeah, and it it started coming unraveled last week when Love got hurt, and still was able to play through it. They lost Christian Watson. They lost to the Bears, and then that was like the ultimate death wish. Because again, another game that did not feel nearly as close as the score indicates. And this is despite the fact that Jalen Hurts did not play very well in this game.
This was a close game for a while, and then it just unraveled.
Yeah.
Well, it looked like it was going to be a blowout early. The Eagles were up 10-0, I think, with like at the end of the first quarter, and it was like, uh-oh, this one might get ugly quick. And then the Packers, like, they kind of treaded water. It took them a while to really get back into it, but they eventually got it to a 1-score game with a really impressive drive, and then it, no.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I mean, it was bad from the very start where they fumbled the fucking opening kickoff.
Yeah.
It immediately gave up a touchdown to the Eagles.
The Jahan Dotson of all people.
Yep. And that kicked off what was a game from hell for Jordan Love because Toyotathon is over and Jordan Love is back to being normal. It is shocking how much he's like Brett Favre. It like
What are
there
Brett
was like
Favre's opinions on Toyotathon?
What are Jordan Love's opinions on welfare?
But it was like a fucking it was one of those Family Guy fan cam edits. If you guys know what I'm talking about, the like sad Family Guy ones.
Yeah.
And it was like a supercut of like him and Brett Favre making identical plays and like both touchdowns and interceptions constantly, and then just like Brett Favre, he's like, January football, time to throw 3 interceptions.
You know what? We need more of that.
We do.
I'm tired of
honestly.
Tom Brady ball. I want a gunslinger quarterback again.
Yeah. Hey, you know, God, I mean, we didn't even mention, like, obviously, we said that Justin Herbert threw 4 interceptions. He threw 3 on the season.
Yeah.
So.
What the fuck?
It's interception time. Like, we were overdue.
I enjoyed seeing Josh Jacobs run all the way down the field, getting his jersey torn behind him.
That was awesome.
Just shedding clothing as he's running. He's like a fucking
Running
scene
into the
from
end zone,
Baywatch.
butt naked.
That particular run had like Beastquake vibes to it. It's a shame that it was for nothing.
Yeah. Well, he did score. I mean,
He did.
it's not like they punted after that.
Still not great though.
No.
Yeah. Nah.
Yeah, so this Packers team was so weird because they were 1-5 in the division, but went 11-6 overall. So I've pulled up their record, and I'm gonna read off the list of the 10 teams that they beat, and this might answer some questions about the Packers. Are you ready? They beat the Indianapolis Colts, the Tennessee Titans, the LA Rams. Okay, there you go. The Arizona Cardinals, the Houston Texans, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Chicago Bears, the San Francisco 49ers, the Miami Dolphins, the Seattle Seahawks, and the New Orleans Saints. 2 of those teams are playoff teams.
Yeah.
Some of them, like the Jags and the Bears, were some of the worst teams in football.
Should also point out that they only beat the Jags by 3 and the Colts by 6.
Yeah.
And the first Bears win was by a point.
Yeah, off of blocked field goal. They were that close to going 0-6 in the division.
Jeez.
Yeah.
And yet, so their only out of division losses were the Eagles twice.
What a weird year. What a weird team.
Yeah. I don't understand.
If we want to talk about weirdness too, which it seemed weird at first, but now it seems kind of normal. Although there is still some weirdness with Philly. AJ Brown was just taking some time during the middle of the game to get caught up on his book club, so that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
So big shout out to Connor Orr of Sports Illustrated for, in the span of a day after that happened, he figured out what book he was reading, bought it, read part of it, tracked down the author, and interviewed him all in a day. And apparently it's like a self-help book for like motivation. And then AJ Brown like posted a picture of like a bunch of the highlighted passages he has, and he was talking about like, yeah, read this in between drives as like positive affirmations. And he was like, I wasn't having a very good game, so I was like reading that to get my head back in it, because he had 1 catch for 10 yards on 3 targets, so not a very good game. And then you had a really weird quote from Jalen Hurts where he said that he's like, yeah, I see him with the book, but I never see him read it. So, which like,
can he read?
You go back a month and you're like asking AJ Brown like, hey, what do we need to do better? And he's like, passing. And now you have the guy who's passing the ball. He's like, I don't even know if that guy can fucking read. So something weird's going on.
Oh, that reminds me of when 50 Cent did the ice bucket challenge.
Oh yeah.
Who was it that he called out? I can't remember who it was anymore.
Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Floyd Mayweather.
I remember that now. God.
This team has everything, man.
They
Big
really
Dom, good running back, wide receiver that can't read. Or maybe he can. I'm not sure.
Weird guy at quarterback.
Yeah.
You got
It's a strange team.
Yeah.
It's like they're always one bad step from completely falling apart, like a horse.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for it to happen.
It feels like the Last Dance bowls, where it was like everybody on the team was like, we all fucking hate each other, but we're also extremely good at basketball, so I guess we'll play another season together.
The Fleetwood Mac of football teams.
So which one of them is going to randomly step out for like 3 days at a time and go on a bender like Dennis Rodman?
I mean, what was Jalen Hurts doing the last 2 weeks? Who knows? He wasn't playing football. We got to expand this like music universe of the NFL, because the Chiefs are jazz, the Eagles are Fleetwood Mac. We're gonna have to expand on this more.
Yeah, I'll have to think about that. Might have to present some more stuff for next week.
Yeah. Anyway, I really hope nobody wanted like hard playoff football analysis in this episode, because
that's not
what we do.
Yeah. Come for the football, stay for the lunacy. So yeah, Eagles move on. They will host the winner of... No, they won't host the winner of this game. We'll talk about that one later. But we will talk about now the Commanders and Buccaneers. Washington, Tampa Bay, Two teams more alike than anyone expected, both with offensive prowess to go toe-to-toe with anyone in the league, both with exciting gunslingers at quarterback who will dazzle you with downfield passing in droves and no fear on the ground, both with future Hall of Fame wide receivers stretching the field, finally savoring having an elite passer to feed them the ball. And while both featured defensively minded coaches, Dan Quinn and Todd Bowles couldn't be more different. Bowles' conservative approach finally caught up to him as his Bucs settled for 3 to tie rather than going for the win, and ended the game with multiple timeouts in hand as Baker Mayfield could only stand and watch as Jaden Daniels worked his magic once more, and Zane Gonzalez doinked his commies to the divisional round. March onward to victory, comrades.
Gets me every fucking time.
Pain. That's all I have to say. God damn it. This is the only way the commies know how to win football games, is on the last play of the game. Like, why even play the rest of the game? You know?
Yeah.
Just play college football overtime with the commies every week. Because they're going to do it.
They're going to win. No way around it. Like it or not.
You will win. It is unavoidable.
Barely, though.
Yeah. I'm going to do it in very exciting fashion. Yeah, man, this is another team that, like, they have the unenviable position of having a good coach who's not good enough to get over the hump. Because Todd Bowles, as good, like, he's a very good coach, but he still schemes and makes decisions like they're a great defense. And they're not. They're a great offense. And you can't end the game with timeouts in your pocket with Baker Mayfield standing there not getting the ball again. You know?
Yeah, you have to
Like,
give him a shot.
The way he just let the commies run the clock down and not give them a shot to do anything about it was maddening. And as much as I like Todd Bowles, I feel like he just coached his last game as the Bucs head coach.
No. Honestly.
Yeah.
I could see it, but I also think he gets at least one more year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see them doing it, but I don't know if he'll be the right choice.
Well, and the weird thing too is he will have these times where he goes aggressive and he leans into the fact that he's got Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans and Bucky Irving, right? And it works. I mean, we saw it in week fucking 18 where they threw a pass up 8 just because they wanted to get a record, right? Like, you got to bring that mentality to everything, especially when you're playing Jaden Daniels, because your defense was not stopping him at the end of this game.
Yeah. In the playoffs, you leave absolutely everything out there.
Yeah.
You don't play scared in the playoffs.
Yeah, and the field goal call was, I didn't like. I mean, it's 4th and 3 in the red zone. I know you got, like, we've been on the take the points, but, like, you can't give the ball back to Jaden Daniels there in a tie game.
It's
Just can't.
It's damned if you do and damned if you don't. You know,
Yeah.
if you go for it and you don't get it, we're going to be sitting here asking, why didn't they just take the points?
Yeah, true.
You know, I don't know.
It's the, like, unanswerable question. But we also got to mention, I mean, this is Washington's first playoff win since 2005, which
Also against the Buccaneers.
Yeah. I swear every time both of these teams make the playoffs, they play each other.
Yeah, this reminder again that Joe Gibbs was still the head coach then.
I believe oh god, who was the quarterback at the time? Was that Mark Brunell?
In 2005, it might have been. I honestly could not tell you.
Yes, that was Mark Brunell.
Oh my god.
The backup was Patrick Ramsey.
Oh my god.
God.
Good grief.
Jason Campbell was on that team too. Clinton Portis. The other Antonio Brown.
Santana Moss in his first season with them.
Oh my god. God, that was
Man.
so long ago. Yeah, I mean this commies team is there's just something special about them. Like, I think Dan Quinn's going to get a lot of votes for Coach of the Year. Cliff Kingsbury is going to be courted by every goddamn team needing a head coach, it seems like. And Jaden Daniels' reaction to the game-winning field goal is just perfect. I don't know if you guys saw that. He just sat there and was just like, yeah. Like, of course we were going to win. For the goddamn Commanders. So yeah, this was another one of those games where I was like, why did both these teams have to fucking play each other the first round? Like, now I'm mad that the Bucks won because I was like, they should have brought the Vikings to town. Because like going into Week 18, I was like, I need the Bucks to win and the Rams to lose because I would much rather see the Commanders or the Packers than, loser of Vikings Lions. And look how that turned out. So
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I have much else to say about this game. I got my rant out of the way.
Yeah, hell of a game.
Oh yeah. Dare I say, the only good game of Wildcard weekend.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Because a much touted matchup between the Vikings and Rams in Arizona, of all places, did not go like we thought it would.
Vikings and the Rams squared off in Glendale for the right to face the Lions in a rematch. Dan Campbell was right about seeing the Vikings in 2 weeks, but the place he's seeing them is on the couch. A Wedicus Spartacus from Supreme Overlord Sam Darnold and a Rams team playing for an entire city led to a perfect storm for a 14-win wildcard squad to be ousted rather unceremoniously from the offs. While the last 2 weeks from Minnesota aren't what this team was about all season, it's what people are going to end up remembering them for. Rams 27, Vikings 9.
Yeah, see, that's the problem with the Vikings game plan is you can't plan for the like unquantifiable, which was them playing for a city that's being terrorized by massive wildfires.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me a lot of one of my favorite tweets I saw last year, which was when Josh Dobbs went to the Vikings during the middle of the season and was just carving people up, and people were like, yeah, he's like, unbelievable amount of ball knowledge and also just being a dog. And then somebody was like, yeah, but there's also the the thing we haven't factored in yet, which is the alopecia. Who knows how much that's helping him? And so,
right. Wait. No, that makes sense because look at what Joey Logano's doing.
Oh God.
Less hair means more good.
That's true. Yeah. He gets his hair back and he becomes the worst champion in NASCAR history.
Why do you think the Bills are winning the AFC East every year now?
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, big shout out to Sean McDermott for blowing up Sean Payton's record against bald head coaches. So
yeah.
We talked about that last week.
Yeah, so obviously the Rams have a very tough road ahead with who they're going to play next week, who they could potentially face the week after, but I'm sensing a little bit of Destiny vibes here, man. I really am.
Yeah, they really are one of the best teams left. I mean, since mid-season, they have been one of the best teams in the league.
Well, it's funny because when Dewey and I were picking for this game last week, I was talking about, I was like, I want to say, like, I feel like the Rams have a lot of momentum, but then you look at the record and it was 3 ugly-ass wins and then a loss to the Seahawks in Week 18. And so it felt like they were backing into the playoffs, and then they were like, oh no, Matt Stafford's pissed off. And
but also it's like when you get an entire team galvanized after an event like this happens to a city, like sometimes it's just plain hard to stop them, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like it has, and I hate to make this about myself and who I root for, but like it has a bit of a similar feel to the Red Sox in 2013. And like they were a good team the whole year, but it still felt like they were kind of riding that whole like, we're doing this for Boston and everything that whole year. I can see the Rams making a run deep in this playoffs in a very similar way.
See, I was going to bring up the 2017 Astros with Hurricane Harvey and all that.
Oh,
stuff,
yeah.
But that's a good one too, yeah.
I haven't seen any trash cans on the sidelines at the Rams games, so I don't know if that's appropriate.
They're like, we're gonna take extra effort to just litter everywhere to make sure you guys know there's no trash cans over here. Yeah, I mean, I was just down in Anaheim, which is super far away from the fires, like where we were staying, and then when we went to Angel Stadium for Supercross, there was no smoke. You couldn't see anything from there, but there was still kind of like a buzz about the Rams, like just at Supercross. So I definitely get what you guys are getting at. And like the biggest part, like the thing that is going to define this game is the fucking Rams defense.
My God,
they
9
racked up,
sacks.
9 sacks. I believe the number was 26 pressures. I believe I forgot to write it down, which is the most in a playoff game since that Bucks Chiefs Super Bowl in 2020, where they put Patrick Mahomes on his ass for the entire fucking game, you know? So, like, this was a Rams defense that was hyped up and ready to go, and they put the Vikings in a 10-0 hole, like, immediately, and I gotta imagine, like, something on Sam Darnold's tendencies got put on film the last couple weeks, because the Lions did it to him last week, and the Rams did it to him this week, where it's almost like they employed what Brian Flores has been doing for the Vikings defense all year and turned it around on Darnold. Because he wasn't terrible in this game. The problem is he had 2 or 3 back-breaking plays in it. The fumble that got run back for a touchdown was just back-breaking. And then you have an interception. I think that was the drive before that, if I recall correctly. And that was when they were already in a 10-0 hole, and at that point, it just felt over.
Yeah, it's for a quarterback that's been memed and dragged for seeing ghosts and being scared in the pocket. You know, it makes sense to employ such a hyper aggressive defense against him. Once he's scared, he can't do shit.
Yeah, and it's especially disappointing because it looked like he had turned a corner. Especially with, you know, like people pointed out, 15 days ago he was being, you know, carried by his teammates on their shoulders in the locker room, and this team felt really special. And I'm not fully out on Sam Darnold because it's the same thing I said on last week's show. Like, he has put way more great football on tape this year than bad.
Yeah, definitely.
And
if he has a good surrounding cast around him, he can do great things. But once those cracks start to show, he gets rattled, and then the mistakes start to pile up.
Yeah, and if he does end up leaving the team in the off season, like, that is the next project, right? Figure out how to get him to stay composed under pressure. And a big part of it too, I think, was Kevin O'Connell didn't really dial up a great game plan for him either. It felt like he was doing like 3 to 5 step drops every play and was just constantly being harassed, and it felt like there was no quick out, and they couldn't get anything going on the ground either. And so it all came down to, like, we need Darnold to make these plays, and right now Sam Darnold is not the kind of quarterback that can do that.
Yeah.
So
he's gonna get paid this offseason. It's just a matter of who's gonna take a flyer on him. Yeah.
I mean, there's still the possibility that he stays with Minnesota, but based on what they said earlier in the year, like, this kind of performance, probably not, but you never know.
Yeah. I mean, it's not the worst idea.
Now.
I'm still apprehensive of JJ McCarthy because a knee injury is one of the hardest things to come back from. There's no guarantee that he's going to be the same quarterback. You at least know what's going to happen with Sam Darnold. So even if he's a backup, you might want to keep him around.
Yeah, exactly.
Because then if you have to put in, like, I don't know, Russell Wilson or somebody, you're fucked.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm looking at teams that need quarterbacks next year. The Jets. Raiders. Browns, probably. Titans. Giants. Although they're probably going to draft someone. 49ers could be looking at somebody if they don't move forward with Purdy. And I mean, he was there last year. You never know. Saints are looking for somebody. So there's a couple good looks out there. But, like, honestly, it might be worth it for him to just stay his ass in Minnesota and take a pay cut.
Just run it back.
Yeah. So, Disappointing way to end the season for the Vikings, though. I mean, a few weeks ago, it was starting to feel special. I was a little, what's the word? Like, I was a little sheepish on them through the middle of the year, but that run towards the end, I was like, okay, I'm a believer now, and that turned
Lions
around
just
quickly.
killed them.
Where'd that get you?
Yeah.
They lost.
Stealing.
No, think about this. They've lost 4 times this season. They lost week 7 to the Rams, and week 8 lost week 7 to the Lions and week 8 to the Rams. Then they lost week 18 to the Lions, and they lost the wild card to the Rams. Those were their only losses this season.
Yep.
Just Minnesota things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like similar to the Packers. Yeah.
If nothing
Beat up
else,
on
it's going to
everybody
be
else except for
it's
those
gonna-
guys.
it's going to be a hell of a chapter in the John Boyce documentary.
So
It really is. I didn't even think about
biography of
that.
Sam Darnold coming out in 10 years.
Wait till the Falcons one gets an update with Kirk Cousins getting benched mid-season.
Oh, God. Well, they'll just have to wait till Michael Penis Jr. leads them to the promised land.
Yeah. You guys remember when Marcus Mariota just like left the team last year?
I
Or was that
forgot
2
about
years
that
ago?
already.
He just bounced.
Marcus Mariota doing pretty good right now too.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Dude,
In a good little spot.
I mean, speaking of like backups, because Teddy Bridgewater came out of retirement to back up for the Lions. Have you guys seen his fucking dreads recently?
I have.
It gave me whiplash to see. He's got like not just like a couple dreadlocks, like his whole hair is just like, it's like when James Stewart came out of his like cave from like Supercross exile, and when he came back he just had huge dreads and everybody was like, whoa, what the fuck? It was the same response to that. Yeah, and on the Rams side, like, just like you mentioned, this team does have a little bit of like team of destiny feeling, because Tyler Higbee had a pretty big game. Kyron Williams had a good game as well. There was a funny moment where his fucking shoe came off, and like Stafford was like trying to help him put it back on while the play was coming in, so they didn't have to take a timeout. And one of the things I thought was funny is Jordan Rodrigue, who is the one of the beat reporters for the Rams, and she goes on Heed the Call every week, and she's talking about like one of the reasons why they sat Stafford in week 18, or one of her theories was, she was like, if they sit Matt Stafford, he's going to be pissed off going into the playoff game, and pissed off Matt Stafford is on another level. And that kind of looked like it this game.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if Matt Stafford knows he's like 40, because there was a point where he did try to take off running, and I was like, don't. Stop, please stop.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
God. But yeah, so we'll see what they can do against the Lions next week. But Rams roll on.
Hell,
And that was the wild card round.
Yeah.
And now I guess we throw it over to the dues.
Yeah, obviously with less games, there are less injuries, but still some pretty notable ones. The first of which being Nakobe Dean, of course, the young linebacker for the Eagles, tore his patellar tendon against the Packers, so he is done for the playoffs. So that's going to be a big loss for the middle of the Eagles defense. The Texans also lost Cade Stover, their tight end, for the rest of the playoffs. He fractured his collarbone against the Chargers. And the Packers themselves had like 8 players get hurt, most notably Jaden Reed getting a dislocated shoulder and Romeo Doubs getting a concussion. So not a great day for the Packers at all.
that was
in any
not
way.
a good concussion.
Yet no. The Steelers signed Skylar Thompson because ?
Yeah!
Signing a QB. Signing a QB the day, like 2 days after you get knocked out of the playoffs, is really funny.
and the Texans waived Deontay Johnson after their win against the Chargers. So Deontay Johnson has now been on and then released / traded from 4 teams in under a calendar year.
Fuck.
He's just speed running like LaTroy Hawkins.
Like, how does this happen with Steelers receivers constantly?
I don't know, man. I think it's just Iron City or something. Got
Might
brain
be.
worms.
At this point, yeah.
The
gotta be
Steelers
something
have
in the
signed
water.
RFK Jr. to a futures deal. And one of the teams with a head coaching vacancy has filled it, as the Patriots have brought their native son, Mike Vrabel, back home to be the next head coach. I am so fucking happy about
Fuck
this.
you.
Kill you. He should say that over the airwaves. Anyway,
Unalive.
there have been, I think, 7 coaches now in the history of the NFL that have coached for a team they won the Super Bowl with, and the Patriots have now done that with back-to-back coaches.
So it's gonna go like this past one did.
I'm trying to think of who the other ones are. I know Bart Starr is one of them.
Oh, and Vrabel and Mayo. It is funny, though, because Gerard Mayo's rookie year was Mike Vrabel's last year on the Pats. They were teammates for a year.
Oh my god. A real training your replacement situation.
Yeah. So, I am very happy about that. Obviously, a member of the Pats Hall of Fame, won 3 Super Bowls here. He already had his introductory press conference. And, I know there's going to be growing pains with this team. They're probably not going to make the playoffs for another year or two, but I think this is as good of a momentum boost for this fan base as there's been in quite some time. And I'm very happy about that. On the flip side, though, however, it was reported last week that the Cowboys and Mike McCarthy were still in contract negotiations, and that the Cowboys denied permission to the Bears to interview him. Well, they couldn't get that contract done. It expired. Mike McCarthy is no longer the head coach of the Cowboys, and he's going to interview with the Bears after all.
Jerry, for the love of God, can you just be fucking normal for once? God damn it, dude.
And it just from a complete outsider, not even memeing, no anything. It just makes no sense because you waited this long to do it. So now you're 2 weeks almost behind the curve of every other team with a head coaching vacancy when it comes to interviewing. Certain teams are about to start their second round of interviewing. You haven't even started your first yet because you waited so fucking long.
Good thing the top coaching prospect on the market's already fucking gone.
Well, okay, but to be completely fair, Mike Vrabel was always going to come back to the Patriots.
Yeah, I know.
But beyond that, the Pats, the Jets, the Raiders, the Raiders, the Bears, basically every team with a vacancy has already interviewed Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. Well, the Lions are playing again this week, so the Cowboys can't even interview them for at least one more week. And if they make the NFC Championship game, it's going to be another 2 weeks. And if the Lions make it to the Super Bowl, it might be another month before they can interview those two.
I hate this goddamn
You're
team
gonna
so
get
much.
Dion and you're gonna like it.
I hate this team so much. So here's the thing, right? Dion, what was the college but he went to before Colorado? It was
Jackson State.
Yeah, Jackson State. He did a good job there, right? So there's a lot of hype when he went to Colorado, not only based on him being Dion, but based on that, and it's gone okay. But if Dion comes to the NFL, he's gonna want Shedeur there. I don't know how the fuck the Cowboys are gonna get him unless they trade Dak and move up to the 3rd pick in the fucking draft or something.
I mean,
I don't think that's as far-fetched as people think it is.
I think it could also be like a John Elway kind of thing, where if he gets drafted by somebody else, he's going to refuse to play for him.
Oh,
I could see that, or an Eli, yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to read real quick the last time the Cowboys did this, they did the same fucking thing where they let Jason Garrett's contract run out, and entered the coaching search on the back foot. And I'm just going to name a coach that got hired that same season, or the same offseason, Kevin Stefanski of the Cleveland Browns. So, I don't know. You might have had a shot with him. It's just it like you said, it's maddening that they wait a week and a half and then they're like, actually, no, we're going to change our mind. And then it's everybody is already in bed with the people that they want to go with. And so now it's you're either going to get fucking Dion or Doug Peterson next year.
Yeah, and again, there was really no situation where Mike Vrabel wasn't going to be a Patriot, but every other top available coach or assistant, they're probably going to lose out on now. And it's like, congratulations, you might have just set yourself back another 3 or 4 years doing that.
Well, like, did you guys see Bill Belichick's comment about this? Belichick straight like there's been rumors that for the last 2 years that Belichick could be coming to Dallas, right? And they let McCarthy go, and Belichick said he was like, "Yeah, I would have loved to have taken that job, but nobody at the Cowboys ever told me he was going to be available." Like he basically said, like, I wouldn't have gone to UNC if I knew I had a shot at the Cowboys job.
Oh my god.
Well, I'm glad he didn't.
Yeah. And like, I don't even think Mike McCarthy did that bad of a job this year.
No, he
best
didn't.
Part. He, like, considering that Jerry did fuck all in the offseason, and it was like he went into free agency in the draft like trying to justify firing Mike McCarthy. He's like, I know, I'll give him a shitty roster and then just fire him. Like, no, you should have fired him after the fucking playoff game last year. Like, when you exited the playoffs in humiliating fashion for the third straight time. That
reminds me, by the way, I'm putting this graphic here in the channel. So Coach A on the left has 18 head coaching seasons, 12 playoff appearances, 8 division titles, and a playoff record of 11-11. The coach on the right, also 18 seasons, also 12 playoff appearances, 7 division titles, and an 8-11 playoff record. Do you know who each of those two coaches are?
Yes.
I know the one on the left's McCarthy, right?
The right one is Mike Tomlin.
Yep.
No.
Mike McCarthy is not as bad as people make him out to be.
Yeah. I mean, but it's in a similar situation, too, where you could make... I mean, it was how he exited Green Bay as well, where, like, good coach, probably need to make a change anyway. Yeah, it's just maddening.
Help.
I don't know what... I was going to say, I mean, the Cowboys and Steelers, I'm glad that we can be, like, partners in misery, because they're both doing the same thing, but going at it differently, where the Cowboys are just, like, flailing around, and then the Steelers are like, we're not doing anything.
If we averaged ourselves out, we would be a competent football team. Maybe we should merge.
What if we just trade coaches?
The Steel
Don't
Boys.
you put that evil on me.
Tomlin on the Cowboys and McCarthy on the Steelers? What could possibly go wrong with that?
Oh. We already have one fat white guy on the coaching staff. We don't need another.
You never have enough fat white guys. Look at Congress.
Oh,
You're right.
Also, do you want to comment on the fact, like, that McCarthy is interviewed with the Bears? I know people are memeing on that. I actually kind of like that move.
I wouldn't hate it.
One, because, I mean, look at Dak Prescott's been probably better than ever under Mike McCarthy. Like, he's gonna... Caleb Williams will play well under him. And B, Mike McCarthy just aesthetically looks like a Bears coach. Like, I can see him doing, like, a Ditka cosplay.
I was just thinking Ditka, yeah.
Yeah.
That could work.
So. I forgot Mike McCarthy's from Pittsburgh.
Oh my god, that's right.
Oh, no.
It's going to happen. You're going to like it.
Oh, man.
Bring him home.
Hey, the Pats brought their guy home. Never know. Just saying.
Wait, where's Tomlin from?
Virginia?
Oh, he is from Virginia, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, whenever Dan Quinn's done in Washington, there you go.
Also, I'm losing my shit over Tomlin's picture on his Wikipedia page, so...
I think we need to start doing a bit where we put a different Mike Tomlin picture in the thumbnail, like the Will Levis turnover picture.
Put the picture of him up with when he had the suds.
That wasn't the thumbnail, I think, 2 weeks ago.
Put it there again.
It gave my man the suds.
So yeah, good luck with that, Cowboys.
Yeah.
Good fucking luck. The Dolphins also fired their special teams coordinator, Danny Crossman, and their wide receivers coach, who just happens to be Wes Welker. So hey, you know, Mike Vrabel, Wes Welker and Josh McDaniels are both out there. Might want to make some phone calls with that one.
Have you guys ever looked at, like, Wes Welker is maybe the most unlucky man I've ever seen in terms of winning championships. Because he always, like, leaves a team right before they get great.
Yeah.
Because they had the 2 Super Bowl losses with the Patriots in 2007 and 2011. and then he goes to the Broncos in 2013. They lose that Super Bowl. His second year with the Broncos, the Patriots win the Super Bowl. He leaves the Broncos after 2014. The Broncos immediately win the Super Bowl. He retires. The Rams immediately get good and get to the Super Bowl.
The Marion Hossa of football.
Then he was on the 49ers coaching staff, lost the Super Bowl there as well. So
Yeah. Love me some Wes Welker. Be cool if
Oh,
he
yeah.
won one at some point with somebody. Be cool
Yeah.
if it was here. And then the Falcons also fired their defensive coordinator, Jimmy Lake, which I think a lot of people saw coming with how the Falcons season ended.
Yeah.
They had some real stinkers at the end,
Yeah.
so they'll need to find a replacement for him. And the Browns promoted their pass game specialist and tight ends coach, Tommy Rees, Notre Dame legend, to offensive coordinator. That is a decision, I think.
all right.
The Jets added to their CVS receipt of head coaching interviews as they interviewed the head coach of Maryland for whatever reason. I don't know why. Maryland is not a very good football team. I don't know why they did that.
Noted offensive powerhouse Matt Canada came from Maryland.
Oh,
Hmm.
perfect.
So
There's your
if
guy.
you want to get your guys, go right ahead, Jets.
And in addition to Mike McCarthy, the Bears are also interviewing David Shaw, who I think interviewed with the Saints last week. So I guess the Bears are going to do their due diligence and make sure they interview who everyone else does, or I guess unless you're the Jets. So, yeah,
Just copying other people's homework at this point.
pretty much. And then on this day in football history, in 1951, the first Pro Bowl happened, back when it was cool.
Record attendance about 14 people.
my dad described the new Pro Bowl as, and I quote, gay. So
The
and
asshole.
I should point out, my dad is not homophobic. So
Fourth down and 9. Also on this date, the Packers defeated the Raiders in Super Bowl II, and the Dolphins defeated the Redskins in Super Bowl VII to complete the only perfect season in the Super Bowl era.
didn't somebody else get close to that? I can't remember.
Maybe? I
Something
don't know.
like that.
I don't know. I gotta really scratch my brain to figure that one out. I don't know. Ask me again later. And then lastly, the Minneapolis Miracle, because Vikings fans needed something good to reminisce on today.
Ugh.
I can't believe that was already 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
A little too late
God.
for that.
Oh.
Yeah, that just
okay.
makes me realize too that Ryan Tannehill did not get a job this year, like at all.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
weird.
And then a segment that I was putting off until this week because Steven was not on the show last week. Regular season superlative awards.
Oh shit.
I've been compiling this list for about a month now,
Oh
trying
my
to
God.
figure it all out. I don't know if I'll read all of them, but I'm going to read some of them off anyway, and you can have input to maybe make a final decision on some of them. But now that the regular season is over, we can do that. And starting off with the Tom Brady Award for Best Quarterback, I think we can safely say is Lamar Jackson here. I think you can make an argument for Josh Allen,
Yeah,
Or
I was
Joe
gonna
Burrow.
say
but
it's tight, but yeah.
also Lamar Jackson winning the Peyton Manning Award for Most Valuable Player, because 41 touchdowns to 4 picks is ridiculous.
That's
Jesus Christ.
absurd.
Yeah.
Excluding everything else, that's unbelievably good. The Jerry Rice Award for the Best Wide Receiver, I think clearly is Jamar Chase.
I don't know, man. Deontay Johnson had a pretty good year.
Well, see, Deontay Johnson is the winner of the Kadarius Toney Award for the worst
Hey!
wide receiver. Panthers/Ravens/Texans wide receiver Deontay Johnson.
you are a St. Louis Battlehawk.
Get ready to speak maple syrup, buddy.
The LaDainian Tomlinson Award for Best Running Back, pretty much obviously Saquon Barkley.
Dude, you could make this one any running back who changed teams in free agency this year, because
Yeah,
you have Barkley, you have Joe Mixon, you have Derrick Henry, you have Josh Jacobs,
Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones. Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Well, Saquon is also the winner of the Kurt Flood Award for the best free agent signing.
The who?
You don't know about Kurt Flood?
No.
He was the MLB player in the 70s that sued to become a free agent and started that whole thing. Like, free agency is a thing in sports because of Kurt Flood.
Yeah,
that's why
he
I don't watch
created
baseball.
that.
Yeah.
Dude rocks.
Yeah.
Rocked. I think he died.
He did a while ago,
Yeah, he passed away in 97.
That sucks.
And the Tex Schramm Award for the best general manager goes to Howie Roseman of the Eagles for no other reason than because he signed Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. That's all he had to do.
Yeah,
The Rob Gronkowski Award for best tight end goes to the rookie Brock Bowers on the Raiders.
Can you tell that there's a Patriots bias in the the award
Well,
names?
Well, I was trying to balance it between, like, naming the awards after, like, the all-time greats and, like, the best that we remember watching. And so that just happens to overlap, you know, the Patriots winning 6 fucking Super Bowls.
Hence why we have the Bill Belichick and the Josh McDaniels awards.
Yeah. Fuck y'all, I don't care. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Monster season for, again, a rookie tight end working with 2 quarterbacks that might not even be employed next year. So he is just a little good. The Anthony Munoz Award for the best offensive line goes to the Bills. Because, man.
Yeah, I can see it.
The 1985 Bears Award for the best defense I gave to the Chargers because, like, I think they gave up the fewest points of any team in the league this year and helped get them back to the playoffs after a disastrous last year.
We see how that went.
Well, so what's funny is I personally would have said the Vikings, but we also see how that went. So
I was considering the Steelers before their last month of games.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
However, the Steelers are the winner of
the Steelers.
However, the Steelers are the winner of the Devin Hester Award for best special teams.
Yeah.
And also Chris Boswell, the Justin Tucker Award winner for best kicker.
Ironically, Justin Tucker won the Josh Scobie Award for worst kicker.
Which is like, that's like a half joke, but he did have a pretty rough couple weeks.
Yeah.
What award did Josh Scobie win? He got the
Kicker on the
Chris
Couch
Boswell Award.
But yeah, like, Chris Boswell is literally the only reason why the Steelers made the playoffs after all. Pretty much
majority
kicked them
of
to
our
like
offense.
6 wins. Yeah.
Put him under center. Fuck it.
Might as well.
The Shane Lecker Award for the best punter goes to Corey Bojorquez of the Browns, which might be for no other reason than he was the busiest punter this year.
I was gonna say, I mean, that's just kind of like a backhanded compliment. It was like they used him a lot.
The biasly named Bill Belichick Award for Coach of the Year, I still gave to Kevin O'Connell because winning 14 games with Sam Darnold was still insane. Like, I don't think anybody saw that coming.
Even on an extremely biased podcast towards him, Dan Campbell still can't win Coach of the Year.
Look, it was honestly a toss-up. It was genuinely a toss-up between those two. Like, Sean Payton maybe a distant third place.
I would put Dan Quinn in there, too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But I gave it to O'Connell because I think, like, again, I think when the season started, it was Sam Darnold's like, oh, this ain't going to go well. Winning 14 games was ridiculous. So just barely.
Yeah.
However, the Lions did get an award winner as Ben Johnson wins the Josh McDaniels Award for Best Assistant Coach. I'm sure he'll probably be a head coach somewhere next year.
Oh, yeah.
Be kind of insane if he wasn't. The George Halas Award for Best Owner goes to Josh Harris just because he's not Dan Snyder. Didn't have to do a whole lot to win that one.
Yeah.
But
it's like
winning...
It's like the stereotype that frat guys have where it's like a girl hangs out with much uglier girls to make herself look better. That's like that situation.
But like winning 12 games for the first time in 30 years and winning your first playoff game in 20 in your second year of owning the franchise. Yeah. pretty strong case for that. The Jamarcus Russell Award for worst quarterback goes to Deshaun Watson.
Can I make a suggestion? Can we
Sure.
rename this to the Deshaun Watson Award?
Yes, after this year, it will be the Deshaun Watson Award.
Yeah,
Okay.
the idea I had was that some of these would get renamed based on who won it this year, so I think that one can be arranged.
Hell yeah.
The Trent Richardson Award for worst running back. I wasn't sure who to put for this one. I think we could put the Raiders running backs as a collective unit.
Yeah, just all of them.
Yeah.
Wait, let's see. NFL worst rushing team of 2024. Who was the worst one? Let's see. Rush yards on season. It was the Raiders. Okay, yeah, so you had the right one.
That was what, like Alexander Madison, Zamir White, Amir Abdullah, and I think Sincere McCormick?
I think so.
Yeah.
They were a full 114 yards. Or sorry. I think, yeah, a full 200 yards behind the next closest team.
Oh my god.
The only team under 1,500 rushing yards on the season.
So you mean to tell me both Derrick Henry and Saquon rushed for more than the Raiders did total?
Yeah.
Jesus
God.
fuck! Also, I didn't know who to put for this one either. The Eric Ebron Award for worst tight end. Didn't really watch a lot of tight ends this year. I don't really I don't know.
we could say Travis Kelce just to piss people off.
That would be pretty funny.
I mean, he wasn't that good this season.
Yeah.
It was also Mark Andrews for a month, but then he wasn't anymore.
Yeah. Then he remembered how to play football.
The 2002 Texans Award for the worst offensive line. I had a tie between the Bears and Patriots, but I think if I had to pick one of them, the Bears was worse.
Yeah, I would have said the Bears. They were
Yeah.
terrible.
Just disgusting.
Special shout to Steelers offensive lineman Dan Moore Jr. Again.
And
Fuck
also
him.
a shout out to Vidarian Lowe and Demontre Jacobs. Yeah. Yeah, no. The Rob Ryan Award for the worst defense goes to the Bengals, which I think should not come as a surprise to anybody. And I think the only surprising part about this is the defensive coordinator that they just fired is interviewing with other teams for that same position.
Bruh.
Like, why do you want the guy that just had the worst defense? What do you think will happen?
I'm looking at overall stats. I think the Saints probably statistically had the worst defense, but based on vibes, it's definitely the Bengals.
Yeah.
Well, the Bengals at least win the least valuable defense because they lost like 5 games because of how bad they were.
Yeah, they scored 30 plus in multiple games that they lost.
Yeah.
Like, that's all you need to know.
The 2010 Chargers Award for worst special teams goes to the Jets.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Just bad.
Although, big shout out to the Bears as well. Multiple blocked field goals.
Yeah. I didn't know who to put for the worst punter, but I wanted a Matt Dodge Award because it's funny.
Ooh, let's see. Let's look at some stats. Let's look at special teams. Punting stats.
It's like multiple punts blocked or whatever.
Let's
Or like
see.
like the worst average.
Punts blocked. The Raiders had 2. And
Well-
the Titans had 2.
And they were both dog shit, so that works for me. Whoever their
Yeah.
punt. Isn't the Titans guy like Ryan Stonehouse or something? Is he still
Sounds
there?
familiar. I don't know. I don't give a shit about the Titans.
Yes, he is the punter for the Titans.
All right. Congrats, Ryan Stonehouse. Come on down.
All
Yeah.
right.
The Hugh Jackson Award for the worst head coach goes to mid-season firing Matt Eberflus.
Special consideration to Jeff Ulbrich of the Jets, although he was interim head coach. He won, 2 games, I think, in
2 or 3.
12. And also, big shout out to Dennis Allen.
Yeah.
Won his first 2 in a row, and then lost, I think, 7 in a row and got fired. So,
Yeah. I think of coaches that made it through the entire year, Gerard Mayo and Brian Callahan. Both
Yeah.
first-year guys.
could see it.
Yeah. The Matt Canada Award for the worst assistant coach, also Bears offensive coordinator Shane Waldron, who was also fired mid-season.
Big shout out to when they like hired them and they were asking Seahawks players about it, and I think it was Jackson Smith and Jigba, and he just started laughing when they mentioned Shane Waldron. So,
the Matt Millen Award for worst general manager goes to Giants GM Joe Shane. You know why?
yeah.
And
Yep.
the Dan Snyder Award for worst owner goes to Jets owner Woody Johnson. Surprise
boy.
upset over Jerry Jones.
Yeah. I mean, Jerry won more games this year. I'll give him that.
Barely.
I mean, Jerry lets his son make a lot of decisions, but his son isn't 17 years old. He's probably never heard of Madden, so that's a step up.
You could call that maddening.
He mentioned Madden, and he's like, "Oh, I wonder if we could get John." And he'd be like, "He died." And he'd be like, "Oh."
Yeah. The Matthew Stafford Award for best player wasted on a bad team is a three-way tie between Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow, Bengals wide receiver Jamar Chase, and Bengals defensive end Trey Hendrickson.
Honorable
All
mention
of whom
goes
led
out.
the league in their respective stats.
Honorable mention also goes out to Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins, is probably the best number 2 in the league.
Man.
Good for you, Bengals. I'm proud.
Yeah.
The 2011 Eagles Award for most disappointing team goes to the Jets.
Dude. What the fuck?
Just, glad I don't root for the Jets.
Yeah.
The Fireman Ed Award for most miserable fan base is a tie between the Bears and the Jets.
God.
Just, ugh.
I think the Browns get an honorable mention as well.
Yeah. Just because they're the Browns.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give obviously not the winner, but I'm gonna give just a little shout to the Vikings because
Yeah.
another great season left to remember the worst parts.
Yeah.
The Vikings have the highest winning percentage of any NFL franchise to have never won a Super Bowl.
I think 4th highest all time in the Super
Yeah,
Bowl.
they're
era.
ahead of teams that have won multiple.
Yeah. Pain.
The Albert Hainsworth Award for the worst contract goes to Kirk Cousins.
So is
And
this?
that fucking albatross.
I'm assuming signed this year.
Yeah, or
Okay.
just current contract that's on the books.
Well, I was
right
gonna
now.
say if it's worst contract, it would have to be Deshaun Watson. But if we're just going by what was signed this season, absolutely Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. Good luck getting rid of that one, Falcons.
Yep.
The Philly Award for best play of the season goes to the Commanders' Hail Mary win against the Bears.
Yeah.
This play also wins the Helmet Catch Award for most heartbreaking loss.
I was just about to say, because there was the best individual performance, we could also do a worst individual performance of the season, which could go to Tyreek Stevenson on that play.
Yes!
Actually, that should be the Tyreek Stevenson award.
Yes.
I'll add that to the list.
The I'm Him Award for best individual performance of the season, Josh Allen when the Bills lost to the Rams. 3 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns, put the entire team on his back, and even though they didn't win, that was a ridiculous game to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Kansas City Chiefs Award for the luckiest team of the season, that one's self-explanatory.
Hate it here.
The Swinging Gate Award for the dumbest play of the season is the Bears letting time expire at the end of the Thanksgiving game against the Lions. Which
Bears really getting honored this week.
Yeah, which single-handedly gave Matt Eberflus the Hugh Jackson Award. That was the one that tipped the scales.
Yep.
I didn't know who to put for this one, so I left it blank to see if we could discuss it. But the Jerome Boger Award for the worst officiating call of the season.
Oh, it's got to be the missed face mask on Darnold in the end zone.
Oh
against the
my
Rams.
god!
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I had forgotten about that until like a week ago, and then it came up on Heed the Call, and I was like, oh my god, I forgot about that fucking play.
Yeah, I entirely forgot about it that quickly.
Yeah, it ended up not really mattering because it was, I think they were down obviously more than 2, but still,
But
like
just
a
from
face
pure-
mask.
Yeah,
in the
just
end
looking at
zone.
the play alone, just how do you miss that shit?
Yeah.
The WTF or what the football moment of the year, I think, goes to Devondre Campbell just not entering the game.
Yeah, that one's a good one. I'm pretty sure Deontay Johnson did the same thing. I mean, we had a lot of them, right?
There were.
We had, I mean, you could boil down 2 to Tyreek Hill, which was him getting arrested before week 1, and then him straight up saying, I'm out of here after week 18, just kind of bookending a season with a bunch of weirdness. You have a lot of Bears plays. You have, like, everything Aaron Rodgers did this year.
I think it has to be Woody Johnson's son assuming
That
control
too.
of a football team at 17
That one's got to
years
be
old.
up there. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I just thought of another award, so I'm going to add it to the list while we move on to the next one.
Might need to do like a bracket style for the what the moment of the year next year. Put them all head to head against each other and see which one wins. Offensive and defensive rookie of the year, I put Jaden Daniels for the NFC, and maybe a little controversial, I put Brian Thomas over Brock Bowers for the AFC. I think you can make the argument for both of them. They both had standout Pro Bowl caliber years with subpar quarterback play. I don't think you can go wrong with either Thomas or Bowers, but I went with Thomas.
I would choose Bowers over Thomas, but I get it.
I also kind of put Thomas there because I already have Bowers on here, but again, either way.
Yeah,
and then
it's kind of like when a quarterback wins MVP, and then they give offensive player to like the second best quarterback, where they're like, we got to give this guy something. Which is like that's more than likely what's going to happen between Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen or whoever ends up in that conversation for that. Yeah.
And then defensive rookie of the year, I put Jared Verse of the Rams for the NFC and Chop Robinson of the Dolphins for the AFC.
Yeah, Jared Verse just this weekend had a fucking huge game.
Yeah. I think this one's Jared Verse by a country mile for who they're actually going to give it to.
Yeah, I agree.
The 2018 Rams Chiefs Award for the best game of the year goes to Commanders versus Cowboys Edition 1, with Bills Rams being a very close honorable mention.
You can put Commies Cowboys V2 as like an honorable mention as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's or Eagles Commies Edition 2.
Yeah. Lions Vikings first time was really good. I'm trying to remember some other ones. But yeah, we had a lot of good games this year.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Mud Bowl Award for worst game of the year. I'm gonna give to Broncos Jets in Week 4.
Oh god, I forgot about that one.
I was gonna say Jags Titans in Week 14.
Or maybe Seahawks Bears in Week 17.
I was just about to mention that one. Yeah, Seahawks Bears was brutal.
I think I'm gonna go Broncos Jets though, just because of just all the different shit that happened in that fucking game.
Yeah.
Like Seahawks Bears, just not a lot of things happened. Broncos Jets was just sensory overload, but for football.
Well,
there was too much.
At least at the end of Seahawks Bears, you had something to talk about, which was like, what the fuck are the Bears doing to Caleb Williams? Broncos Jets, it was like, wow, that didn't matter.
Yeah, just pure unadulterated ass.
Yeah, and it ended on a missed field goal.
Yeah. The Mike Vrabel Award for coach that got fired that didn't deserve to be goes to Robert Saleh.
100%. I mean, they were 2-3 and won 2 games after that when they fired him. So, way to go.
And then the Jason Garrett Award for coach that should have been fired but somehow wasn't. I kind of cheated on this one a little bit. I gave it to Doug Peterson because he was fired, but I think he should have been let go in the middle of the year because it was very clear by about week 8 that this was not going to work.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like if there's a coach who's like active that shouldn't have it, that like somehow avoided getting fired. You
Brian
can make
Callahan.
the argument for
I think Callahan being a one and done would make sense.
Yeah, Dable did not have a good. I mean, this is 2 straight bad years for Dable, but I get why they didn't fire him. So they kind of punted on the season midway through because Daniel Jones was not cutting it.
There's got to be somebody else.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Yeah, I don't know.
The Lawyer Malloy Award for the most shocking release or trade, I think, has to be Daniel Jones.
Yeah, speak of the devil.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, obviously the performance wasn't great, and like the performance being why they released him makes sense, but to go from getting paid what he did for what was actually a decent year to this has been something just special to witness, just for how quickly it all came apart. Now he's on the Vikings and, well, was doing pretty good until about, 72 hours ago. The Ken Burns Award for team most likely to get a documentary about them. I had the Chiefs, and then I changed it last minute to the Commanders.
I mean, yeah, how many times can you put up the score bug of, like, Chiefs win 1916 in a fucking documentary?
I mean, that was like the cookie cutter easy answer, but
yeah,
truly, like, this Commanders team, I think, actually should get a documentary done on them.
Yeah, positive-wise,
what a special year.
Commies, absolutely. If you want to go negative, Bears and Jets make really good candidates for that.
Oh, yeah. Especially the Jets.
Yeah.
A documentary about the Jets, and Woody Johnson is played by Larry David.
Oh my fucking god.
And then, like, Aaron Rodgers tears his Achilles in week 1 and just...
Oh, no.
Oh, my god.
Oh. And then, lastly, but certainly not least, the Benny Malone Award for best play that didn't end up mattering. Aaron Rodgers' Hail Mary against the Bills.
Yeah, I like just remembered that. So have you guys... there's the where I came up with the name for this was NFL Network did one of their top 10s for, like, best forgotten plays. And have you guys ever seen the Benny Malone touchdown in the 70s? So it's one of my... I'll have to show it to you because it's one of my favorite just NFL things, because leading up to it, they have, like, the classic NFL Films intro, and oh god, I'm forgetting the guy who used to do the voiceover, but with his dramatic voice, he's like, Benny Malone, the man who runs like he's falling downstairs. And, like, he has this, like, crazy fucking high-stepping running style that's awesome. And it's in this playoff game from, like, 73 or 74, and he's on the Dolphins. And they hand the ball off him to the right, and he runs through, like, 4 fucking Raiders right on the sideline and stays in, punches the ball in, takes the lead with, like, a minute left. And then the Raiders immediately went down and scored the famous Sea of Hands touchdown, and everybody forgot about the Benny Malone touchdown. And so he's completely forgotten in history, even though he has one of the most, like, exciting playoff touchdowns that should have won the Dolphins the game. So, and that's kind of what the Aaron Rodgers Hail Mary felt like, because everybody was like, holy shit, and then they still lost, and it was just like, oh.
I mean, it was super impressive. It was, like, what he's arguably known for throughout his career. It just didn't mean shit. And forgot one, the You Like That award for the best soundbite of the year doesn't come from the NFL, but from college, when Diego Pavia was interviewed at midfield after Vanderbilt beat Alabama.
I don't know if I've ever seen that one.
It is a very good interview if you have not seen it.
I'll have to look that up, yeah.
I'm going to put an honorable mention for Sean Hockley announcing a penalty in Germany.
That was very cool. Yeah. Didn't Ed do the same thing in, like, Mexico?
I don't know if he did. I know the official who did the game last year did the same thing. He called I think a false start in German or something like that. The Ed Hockley one that everybody remembers, though, was he was like, yes, there are penalties in the Pro Bowl, and then called
I fucking love that one. Or what was it when the Patriots played the Chargers and he was like, there was no penalty for unnecessary roughness. The defender was just overpowered.
Yeah. That one's good. The we were just stretching our balls one is another good one. So.
And that was Oofsides Superlatives.
Yeah. The Oofsides Academy Awards.
Yeah.
The Oofies. Or no, we gotta call them the Brockies. For Dieter Brock. Presented by Spurgeon Wins Football Sauce. If you don't like it, you're an idiot. I've been meaning to make that a soundbite, so we could do, like, a fake commercial break and be like, Oofsides is brought to you by Peyton Manning Forehead Fluid.
It's just a little statuette of the butt fumble.
The Dieter Brock Award for random quarterback most likely to replace Dieter Brock is the studio name.
It's Dieter Brock. Come on down.
It's Rex Grossman. Live from the Rex Grossman studio.
Oh my god. We have lost the plot. Anyway, we should probably get to pick they thems.
Yeah.
Because divisional round football is upon us, and it starts once again. First game on Saturday, the Houston Texans. Except this time they're visiting the Kansas City Chiefs.
Locking the Chiefs. I don't even know if we're locking.
Yeah, we're still doing locks.
Okay.
Chiefs bullshit will continue until morale improves.
Either I'm right or the funniest moment in football history will happen this coming.
So here's the thing. I'm so tempted to take the Texans, but I know they're not going to win.
Yeah.
But of all the Texans teams, this one would be the first one to make the AFC title game.
It's still insane to me that they've been in the league now for over 20 years and they still have not made it to the conference title game.
Yeah. Hopefully there's no other teams from Texas that also haven't made the conference title game in that same time span. That would be terrible, wouldn't it?
Yes,
I'll take the Chiefs.
Yes. Let's see. There's got to be one. Like, I don't know, UTEP?
Yeah. SMU has made the same number of conference title games by a Dallas team. So.
Oh, the SMU won their conference last year.
Fuck! God damn!
They made it in the. They've been 2 in a row.
Anyway, moving on to Commanders. Hey, the Commies haven't made a conference title game in a really long time. Maybe that's the team I'm thinking of.
I think the Jaden Daniels rookie magic is going to run out this week. I think the Lions are a better team. I think they're going to get a couple players back that they were able to rest up with the bye. I think this one. I think they're going to win, but I wouldn't be shocked if this is a very close win. However,
I'm going to lock the Lions.
I'm sorry, Detroit. Our team's gonna win.
spicy.
All right. Anyway, then we kick off Sunday. Rams at Eagles. It's like the ultimate good vibes team versus weird vibes team.
You know what? Rams on the road in the upset. Telling you, man, this team's got some Destiny vibes to them. I think they're going to shock everybody, and they're going to take Philly out this year.
Nothing ever happens. Give me the Eagles.
We're not allowed to have fun.
Well,
Nick Sirianni hates you.
I'm manifesting fun. Fuck y'all.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Rams as well. Fuck it, let's go. I'm feeling dumb. And then finally, Sunday night, Ravens, Bills. Ooh, spicy.
The Ravens won by a lot the first time. I think the Bills are going to win the rematch.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I think the Bills feel different than they did at the start of the year, but at the same time, like, the Ravens are fucking rolling, man.
That being said, if the Bills have as hard of a time defending Derrick Henry as the Steelers did, they're gonna, like, the advantage the Bills have that the Steelers don't is that they can, like, outscore anybody. So, like, they could let Derrick Henry score 3 times, but that Josh Allen could score 4 times. And that's, like, pretty much the only reason why I'm actually picking the Bills in this game, is because if they get behind, they know they can come back and make it right.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
The Ravens got their speed bump out of the way with the Steelers, but now playoff Lamar is going to strike again. I'll take the Bills.
All right. And I am letting us double up on locks, so Dewey, do you have a lock?
Oh, I will be joining Steven in locking the Chiefs then.
All right. Well, our picks for the divisional round are set. Once again, we basically picked almost exactly the same. Yeah. Football.
Hey, we went 6-1 last week, Steven and I did.
Yep.
Picking in unison worked.
Yep.
Yeah, I've hitched my wagon to Dewey now because we picked
Thanks,
in unison
Chargers.
this time. I'm almost tempted to switch to the Texans, but I'm not going to do it because that would be dumb.
I mean, I hope
Yeah,
you get down wrong.
but
Don't get, like, but
Dumb is what
yeah.
we do, so I think you should go for it. Because
Dumb
imagine
side.
we get back here next week and they actually won.
Oh shit, that's true. Yeah, fuck, give me the Texans. Let's go.
Yeah!
Let's do it.
I mean, that's what I did picking the Patriots all year, and I ended up being right 4 times.
So I've got a 1 in 4 chance of this happening. All right.
I'd like to switch Bills Ravens to a playoff tie.
Yeah, well, like, what is the contingency plan if you go to 7 overtimes?
Keep going.
Eventually, you have to acknowledge the idea that there just could be no score.
Gotta construct like a special 3-way football field on the spot, and we get a Chiefs Bills Ravens AFC title game.
It's like
Derrick Henry will have to run through 22 men instead of 11, and he will still fucking score because he's him.
It's like that Tampa-Columbus playoff game that went to 5 overtimes, and I was like, at some point, the NHL has to start
The 7th period stretch.
The indefinite hockey league.
That game would have been so much cooler if the Blue Jackets had won.
Yeah. Well, it led to a funny stat because the year before the Blue Jackets had swept them, and it was like, okay, so Tampa can only win in 5 overtime games. And on that note, this has been Oofsides. Any closing thoughts, you guys?
Free Jay Cutler.
I was gonna say what did he do, and I just remembered he had a video earlier this year. So.
And also free Ross Perot.
Free Jay Cutler from the shackles of diabetes.
Imagine how good of a quarterback he would have been if he didn't have diabetes.
True.
I'm gonna get yelled at by somebody with diabetes now.
I know one of those guys.
Yeah. I'm gonna get a strongly worded message from Noah Joyce, friend of the show. And on that note, we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Football.
Blood. Air brakes.
Air brakes, come on.
God damn.